Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a haul from Color4Nails. All of these polishes were sent to me for review and they are available right now on the Color4Nails website. They are all from different brands, so if you'd like direct links, I will have those available in my blog post. I'll try to put that down in the description box for you. So I'll go ahead and get right into these swatches. First up is Fleck Division, and this is coming from Emily Damali. I do believe this is my first Emily Damali in my collection, and I was extremely pleased with the formula. So this is described as a light gray crowley with gold to green shifting shimmer, multi-chrome flakies, and a small amount of iridescent glitters. So this is in one of those like crowley type formulas where the multi-chrome flakes kind of peek through as well as all that shimmer. Super beautiful. I'll go ahead and show you a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Fleck Division swatched on my natural nail. The coverage of this polish is amazing. The formula is on a little bit of the thicker side, which is definitely my preference. It was really easy to work with. I didn't have to worry about it pooling or running at all, and I was able to do a nice kind of thicker coat with no issues and no problems. So here's a quick look at how it builds up with a second coat. A second coat easily brings this polish completely opaque. You do get a ton of depth, a ton of flakies, and a ton of shimmer. This one, however, does dry down maybe a little bit matte. I definitely do recommend going in with a glossy top coat. Here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, so that definitely helps bring out that shimmer. And this is on a super light pale base that really complements all of those flakes. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. Next up is Sunstruck, and this is from NCLA. This is a Color4Nails exclusive polish. It does come packaged in its own very cute box. This polish is described as a vibrant reddish pink leaning berry linear hollow shade with a bit of gold shimmer. So this one has a very extremely vibrant linear holographic effect. Here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Sunstruck swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. This polish was a dream to apply, just super easy to work with. This is not too thick or too thin. It also doesn't pull or streak or anything like that. That first coat made for an awesome base of coverage. I can still see a little bit of nail line peeking through, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how it built up for me with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go in for just a nice easy second coat, and it easily brought this polish completely opaque with a super strong fiery linear holographic effect. So here's a quick look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. So here it does dry down nice and glossy. I do recommend, however, going in with a nice glossy top coat. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is just super stunning. This is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is a Foxfire, and this is coming from Tonic Polish. Tonic is quickly becoming one of my favorite indie brands. This is described as a metallic rose gold to yellow gold to bronze base with scattered hollow shimmer mixed in. So this is a multi-chrome. It does shift between those 3 shades. I got a very strong golden shift as well as a deeper kind of orangey bronze shift for the most part. Here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Foxfire swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. This is another really easy to use polish. It did start out a little bit sheer, but it does build up very well on itself. I also had no issues with brush stroking or staining. So there's a look at that first coat. I'll let it dry and then show you how it built up for me with a second coat. So here's a look at my second coat. I did go in maybe a little bit thicker here, but it did bring this polish to full coverage. If you go in thinner, you may need 3, but again, I was really happy here with the finish at just 2. You also get a very strong linear holographic effect here. The linear is going to stand out a little bit more in direct natural lighting, and the multi-chrome shift is going to stand out a little bit more in the shade or indirect lighting. So here's a quick view from another angle with a glossy top coat in that direct sunlight, and even here still you get a ton of that gold to orange shift. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Zodiac, and this is coming from Bow Polish. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I had their matte top coat a while back, and I was not super impressed with it. This polish is a completely different world. Everything about it is beautiful, and it was very easy to use. This is described as a dark purple jelly with hollow particles, shimmer, and flakies, and you do get a little bit of shift there in those flakies to a red, super beautiful mix. Here's a quick look at that brush shot. I will mention that the cap has that big box tip, which can make application maybe a little bit more on the tricky side, but really not a huge deal. I did just feel like I needed to mention that. So here's a quick look at my first coat. This one is a little bit on the thinner side. I did have a tiny bit of pooling, but that could totally be my application. I just cleaned it right up with acetone and a cleanup brush. No issues at all. That first coat was a little bit sheer, but it did build up a nice base. So I'll show you how it built up for me with a second coat. 2 coats gives it a little bit more depth, more more flakies and adds a little bit more of that purple pigment. I could still see some nail line here though, so if you're not one that likes to go in for a third coat, I would recommend using an undie with this polish. So here's a quick look at my third and final coat, and this makes for a juicy, super gorgeous finish. I can still see nail line at some angles, but it doesn't bother me because I love this color combination so very much. So here's a quick look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. If you're okay with dulling down some of that hollow, I think this would be beautiful with a matte top coat as well. So here's a look from an angle with a glossy top coat in direct sunlight, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same direct sunlight. So lastly, I have more of a product. This is the Halo Chrome Powder Pigment, the under 15 micron. I think that means it's just super, super small. This is among the more affordable of Halo powders at only $8. I'll go ahead and show you how to apply it for me with a kind of rubber tip tool on a black base. So this is a one-step black polish from Madam Glam. I tried to use this tool to burnish it directly into that base. I've been able to do that with other powders before, not necessarily with this tool, but on this base. So this did not really want to work for me at all. I did get a little bit to stick there, but not enough to make it anything. But once I went in with my finger, it did kind of start sticking to that a little bit better. So if you're okay with getting a little bit messy, I think a finger or even one of those cosmetic sponges is a perfect way to go. So I just got more on my finger and started rubbing away on that base. I did still have a few black patches, so I went in with a one-step top coat from Azure, and that really did the trick to help me fill in all of the spaces. You can see I have some little scuffs there. I think that may have been from the tool that removed any kind of sticky surface or whatnot on top of it. So you can see there when I applied that top coat, it did make that hollow powder nice and glossy. It's not one that's going to dull down too much. And I just went right back in with my finger. It just seems the easiest way to do it for me. I did go back in with that rubber tool and kind of made sure it was all flush and made for a little bit more of a chrome finish. I think that's where you're actually supposed to use this to kind of burnish it all down. You will want to seal everything in with a good top coat, especially a gel top coat is going to be very long wearing. Otherwise, you'll scuff it off or just completely wash off that hollow powder. I've done that before myself. So this, again, is the Azure top coat. It did a really great job at curing and not dulling any of that holographic shine. So next I did a little bit of cleanup. Expect a fair amount of fallout from these polishes, but a little bit does go a long way. Here's a look at my completed mani underneath my artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. And that does wrap up my swatch and review of this mini haul from Color4Nails. A big huge thank you to them for sending me these products. If you'd like to see more photos of any of the polishes featured here, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.